Hey guys, it's Got Bars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 422nd episode of my series, where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it has, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So it's been well over 300 uploads since I last tackled these titans of hardcore hip-hop, and it definitely hasn't been from a lack of interest, as even back in my review for Back to Fuck Up, the game-changing 1993 debut from Onyx, I'm pretty sure I mentioned how I wanted to cover a couple of their other LPs from the 90s. Specifically, the one we are touching on today, 1995's All We Got Is Us, as well as 1997's Shut 'Em Down, which I haven't managed to acquire yet. Though I'll leave a link for my Back to Fuck Up review in the description down below, since having an appreciation and understanding for their first project is a borderline necessity when going into these follow-ups. Plus, in that review, I discussed the formation and early days of Onyx, which is why I'm not really going to touch on that aspect this time around. While the sophomore album may not have had the impact and high sales that the debut garnered, it's still their second most successful release commercially, selling over 500,000 copies. And personally, All We Got Is Us is probably my favorite album the group ever put out, because it takes the grimy, uncompromising energy of their debut and delivers it through slightly more modern packaging, showing that Sticky Fingers and Fredro Starr weren't about to fall behind, as hip-hop was continuing to progress at light speed. Of course, while those two have been the main faces of Onyx for the vast majority of the act's existence, they famously began with a couple more members. However, following the first project, Big DS would leave the group to pursue a solo career, leaving just Fredro, Sticky Fingers, and their resident DJ, who occasionally doubled as a rapper, Suave aka Sunny Caesar. So basically, from this point on in their career, it was nothing but the two cousins handling the rapping side of things, but this was hardly a challenge for the veteran MCs, whose flows and deliveries are even more aggressive and energetic this time around, and their pens are noticeably more polished. One of the other reasons I feel like All We Got Is Us has a leg up on Back to Fuck Up is because even though the production on their first album is super dope and influential, the beats here are way more timeless in comparison, because I can't really think of many instrumentals from the debut being used over the years for freestyles on radio stations, at least not anywhere near as much as the beat for Last Days, which was the second of two singles distributed for this LP, and it's one of those loops that should be and probably will be recognizable to any hip-hop head, though even a more casual listener very well might be familiar with it through its usage in the movie 8 Mile for all the battle rap scenes. And honestly, this beat has aged way better than the majority of other production from 1995. Like, to me, this almost sounds like something you might hear Alchemist cook up a good decade later. While both of the main rappers in Onyx are pretty equally skilled lyrically, you're always going to have a favorite for any given group or even duo, and in this case that's definitely Sticky Fingers for me. But just to show how close in talent Fredro Starr is, I want to share part of his killer performance that comes on the aforementioned Last Days, since for my money it's arguably the best set of bars he delivers on the entire LP. He comes in rapping, "I'm America's nightmare, young, black, and just don't give a fuck. I just want to get high and live it up. So fuck a 9 to 5 and why they trying to slave us? With minimum wages, slamming my people up in cages. Changing their behavior to spitting razors. That's outrageous. Smoking roaches is hopeless. We want lazy sofas and sculptures. Lady chauffeurs who fuck us. Full house and royal flushes, roll with the rush. It's that official nast. Got bitches with pistols and cash, we livin' in the last. My theory is fuck it, sexy women get abducted, my corrupted is conducted. Through ghetto sippin' amaretto, hand on the metal, foot on the pedal, never settle. He wore Carolina Herrera, Dirty Donna Karen sweaters, Ralph Lauren leathers and suedes, gold-plated guns and grenades. To blow up, I got news from the informers. I'm trapped in corners busting shots at Time Warners." I also have to give some lines from Sticky, considering he is my favorite rapper in Onyx. And while he snaps on virtually every track here, one of my personal favorite verses comes towards the back end of the song Better Off Dead, where he says, "So now add all that up to the fact that I'm a rapper that could just beat your motherfucking ass to hurt your feelings cause your shit is trash. But you need people like me cause they're not worthy. Construct my coalition, it's a demolition derby. To all the spit you talk'll make the mic smell like saliva, yuck. You need to retire, resign, I'm ahead of my time. In my prime, one of a kind, and out of my mind. And ain't nothing in this world free, so me? I'm a kick it paid style, I ain't got no smile. I was abused as a child, my moms gave birth to a crazy ass wild one. Bust out her pussy with a motherfucking gun. And started talking slang, even joined a gang. In suicide slums, I sold jumps to the bums. I was the hand-to-hand man pulling in crumbs. Then I started dealing, robbing and stealing. Got knocked for a killin', now I'm known as a villain. So if you want problems, I'm ready and willing. And I'll get up in your mouth like a motherfucking filling. All We Got Is Us is definitely a fitting title because we get very little in the way of guest appearances or even producers, as Onyx themselves handled all of the instrumentals here, with the only exception being 8 Off Assassin, and the only features here include All City and Panama P. When it comes to my honorable mentions this time around, I want to give a shout out to songs like All We Got Is Us, Evil Streets, Purse Snatches, Shout, Ghetto Mentality, Two Wrongs, Punk Motherfuckers, and Then for my overall 3 favorite songs, I think I would have to go with Last Days, Better Off Dead, and Walk in New York. Thank you for watching my 422nd video. Next time we are going over to the South for the first time in this set to cover a rapper who's never been on the page before. So check in for that one, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what bangers off this amazing sophomore LP you replay the most. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.